1995 saw the release of numerous memorable films, such as Toy Story, Seven, Casino, Billy Madison, Tommy Boy, Apollo 13, Friday, Braveheart, Mallrats, Bad Boys, Batman Forever, Jumanji, Clueless, Mortal Kombat, Heat, Waterworld, Pocahontas, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, and Die Hard with a Vengeance. The year saw multiple hit albums, such as the debut album from the Foo Fighters, One Hot Minute by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, What's the Story? Morning Glory by Oasis, Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette, The Bends by Radiohead, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness by the Smashing Pumpkins, Tragic Kingdom by No Doubt, and Out Come the Wolves by Rancid, King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime by Faith No More, Astro Creep 2000 by White Zombie, and self-titled albums from Alice in Chains and Clutch. On television, we saw the debuts of Star Trek Voyager, News Radio, Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, Road Rules, Sailor Moon, Pinky and the Brain, The Drew Carey Show, Xena Warrior Princess, Mad TV, and Goosebumps. But all this paled in comparison to what was happening in the World Wrestling Federation. Business was down, and fans were switching over to WCW. With Nitro providing the first real competition for the WWF, the locker room would have to step their game up for the beginning of the Monday Night War. Join us on this trip as we journey back to 1995. The first Monday Night Raw of the new year took place on January 2nd. Million Dollar Corporation members Bam Bam Bigelow and Tatanka squared off with the Allied Powers, Lex Luger, and the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith. The Bulldog had momentum on his side, cleaning house. An exhausted Bigelow rested on the apron, while Bulldog sent Tatanka crashing into the Beast from the East. Bulldog covered Tatanka to pick up the victory for his team. Following the bout, Million Dollar Man Ted DiBiase scolded Bigelow, blaming him for the loss. Bigelow must have gotten the message, as he and Tatanka managed to advance to the finals of the WWF Tag Team Championship Tournament. Their opponents were the underdog team of Sparky Plugg and the 1-2-3 Kid. The match took place on January 22nd at the Royal Rumble. Bigelow and Tatanka underestimated the team of Plugg and the Kid. Mayhem broke out in the end, with all four brawling in the ring. Bigelow climbed to the top rope, looking for a moonsault on a weary Kid. Tatanka ran against the ropes, causing Bigelow to lose his balance and crash to the mat. The Kid covered an unconscious Bigelow and scored the win. Sparky Plugg and the 1-2-3 Kid were crowned the new WWF Tag Team Champions. Sitting ringside was NFL legend Lawrence Taylor, a personal guest of WWF champion Big Daddy Cool Diesel. Taylor laughed at Bigelow, who was dumbfounded by the defeat. The mockery continued, causing Bigelow to snap, approaching Taylor and shoving him to the floor. The following night on Monday Night Raw, Vince McMahon apologized for Bigelow's actions. McMahon also announced the suspension of the Beast from the East. Bam Bam Bigelow appeared via satellite on the January 30th Monday Night Raw. He refused to apologize and challenged LT to a match. LT appeared on the February 27th Monday Night Raw, saying he was considering Bigelow's challenge. Bigelow interrupted via satellite, talking trash about LT and calling him a punk. This infuriated LT, who threw down his earpiece and walked off the set. The WrestleMania 11 press conference took place the following afternoon at the Harley-Davidson Sports Cafe. LT was in attendance to accept Bigelow's challenge for a match at WrestleMania 11. The two came face to face, with LT kissing Bigelow on the cheek, infuriating the Beast from the East. On the March 13th Monday Night Raw, LT announced his All-Pro team, a group of NFL greats that would be in his corner at WrestleMania 11. The All-Pro team consisted of Ken Norton Jr., Chris Spielman, Ricky Jackson, Carl Banks, Reggie White, and Steve Mongo McMichael. Opposing them would be Bigelow's $1 Million team, Tatanka, Nikolai Volkov, IRS, the Supreme Fighting Machine Kama, and King Kong Bundy. Mongo appeared on the March 20th Monday Night Raw, singing the praises of LT. Kama made his way to ringside, inciting a wild brawl with Mongo. The main event of WrestleMania 11 was dubbed First Time, Last Time, Only Time. Salt and Pepper sang their hit song What a Man as LT made his way to the ring. Bigelow followed, roaring at Salt and Pepper and looking ready for battle. Taylor exceeded expectations, but still felt the wrath of Bigelow. Bigelow hit a moonsault off the top rope onto LT, but hurt his knee upon landing. Despite the injury, Bigelow hit a diving headbutt onto LT and covered him, with Taylor kicking out at 2. LT fought back with a flurry of forearms. As Bigelow reeled, LT leapt from the second rope, clobbering the Beast from the East with a flying forearm to secure a victory. The All-Pro team hoisted LT in the air, celebrating a huge win. Legendary actor William Shatner appeared on the King's Court on the January 9th Monday Night Raw. Jerry the King Lawler attempted to get Shatner to confess that being a guest on the King's Court was his crowning achievement. Shatner wasn't impressed. This led to a confrontation, with Shatner hitting Lawler with a monkey flip. Bret the Hitman Hart made his way to the ring to raise the arm of Shatner. The following week, Shatner accompanied Hart in his match against Double J Jeff Jarrett. Hart was victorious, with Shatner clobbering Jarrett's new manager, the Roadie, after the bout and tossing him to the floor. WWF Champion Big Daddy Cool Diesel defended his title against Bret the Hitman Hart at the Royal Rumble. The match was marred by interference, with the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels and the King of Hearts Owen Hart making their presence felt. The bout continued, with Mr. Bob Backlund and Double J Jeff Jarrett joining Owen and HBK in a beatdown. The referee declared the bout a double disqualification, with Diesel and Hart left injured on the mat. This ensured that Diesel would defend his championship against the winner of the 30-man Royal Rumble match. Not only would the winner of the Rumble receive a WWF Championship match at WrestleMania 11, but he'd also be accompanied by actress Pamela Anderson, who was in attendance for the Rumble. The Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels and the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith began the match. Incredibly, both men outlasted the competition and were left as the final two participants in the match. Bulldog tossed HBK over the top rope and celebrated prematurely. HBK held onto the top rope for dear life, with only one foot touching the floor. Since both feet hadn't touched, HBK was still in the match. He attacked Bulldog from behind, knocking him off the top rope and to the floor. The Heartbreak Kid was the winner and would receive his title shot at WrestleMania 11. On the February 20th Monday Night Raw, HBK appeared on the King's Court. He introduced his new bodyguard, Sid. Now more confident than ever, HBK delivered a riveting promo at the WrestleMania 11 press conference. His opponent would be his former bodyguard, the current WWF champion Diesel. HBK promised to deliver a show like nobody had ever seen before. At WrestleMania 11, HBK did just that. Come match time, Pamela Anderson was nowhere to be found. Despite this, HBK was accompanied by actress Jenny McCarthy as well as Sid. Diesel made his grand entrance with Pamela Anderson by his side. Diesel dominated the early part of the match, tossing HBK around like a ragdoll. HBK gained the advantage after dodging a big boot, causing Diesel to get caught up in the ropes. In a breathtaking moment, HBK soared off the top rope, hitting a high cross body all the way to the floor onto Diesel. HBK continued the beatdown, hitting a picture-perfect top rope elbow drop onto the back of Diesel. Referee Earl Hebner injured his ankle, inconveniently at the time HBK had Diesel pinned. By the time Hebner counted, Diesel kicked out at 2. The champion got his second wind, battling back and hitting a jackknife powerbomb on HBK to score the victory. Diesel went on to celebrate his victory with both Anderson and McCarthy. The night after WrestleMania 11, Vince McMahon interviewed HBK. He put all the blame on Sid for his loss and vowed to get a rematch against Diesel. This time, HBK said he didn't need anybody in his corner. Insulted, Sid viciously attacked HBK from behind and delivered 3 consecutive powerbombs. Diesel ran to the ring, causing Sid to retreat. Diesel checked on HBK as officials and medics filled the ring. On the April 16th Action Zone, Sid aligned himself with the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and the $1 Million Corporation. This only made Sid more ruthless, earning the nickname Psycho Sid. Sid discouraged the nickname, demanding that people not call him Psycho. Together, Sid and DiBiase devised a plan to capture the WWF Championship from Diesel. Bam Bam Bigelow received a shot at the WWF Championship on the April 24th Monday Night Raw. Diesel defeated Bigelow with a jackknife powerbomb to retain his championship. Following the bout, a furious DiBiase scolded Bigelow and fired him from the $1 Million Corporation. Bigelow corrected DiBiase, saying, "You can't fire me, I quit." The rest of the corporation attacked Bigelow, with Diesel running in to make the save. Sid began his mind games on the May 1st Monday Night Raw. Razor Ramon posed in the ring with his pyro going off in the background. The monster Sid ran through the pyro and attacked Ramon. Diesel rushed to the ring to save his friend and run off Sid. A bout between WWF champion Diesel and Sid was signed for the first ever In Your House pay-per-view. Diesel vs. Sid headlined In Your House with the issue left unsettled. Sid managed to powerbomb Diesel, injuring the champion's elbow. Despite this, Diesel fought back and nearly secured the victory. Members of the $1 Million Corporation charged to the ring, attacking Diesel to cause a disqualification. Bam Bam Bigelow rushed to the ring, running off the corporation and tending to Big Daddy Cool. The Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels returned to the ring on the May 22nd Monday Night Raw. His opponent was King Kong Bundy, with the winner advancing in the King of the Ring tournament. With the crowd now by his side, HBK defeated Bundy with sweet chin music. Following the bout, Diesel and Bigelow made their way to the ring. Diesel and HBK stared at one another, with Bigelow trying to convince them to bury the hatchet. Diesel raised his hand in the air, with HBK high-fiving him. The King of the Ring took place on June 25th and was headlined by WWF Champion Diesel and Bam Bam Bigelow facing Psycho Sid and Tatanka. Sid wanted nothing to do with Diesel, retreating up the aisle and abandoning his partner. Diesel made quick work of Tatanka, defeating him with a jackknife powerbomb. Diesel and Sid would face once more on July 23rd at the second In Your House. This time, the two battled in a lumberjack match. The ring was surrounded by 30 superstars, with Diesel and Sid selecting 15 each. If either Diesel or Sid attempted to leave the ring, the lumberjacks were instructed to throw them back in. Mabel pulled Diesel out of the ring and rammed him into a ring post. Later, HBK dropped a double axe handle off the top rope onto Sid on the floor. Diesel's lumberjacks threw Sid back into the ring, where he received a big boot from Diesel. Diesel got the 3 count, retaining the WWF Championship and closing the book on his feud with Psycho Sid. WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon defended his title against Jeff Jarrett at the Royal Rumble. The roadie injured Ramon's left knee early in the bout, tackling him in the aisle behind the referee's back. Ramon was counted out, much to the dismay of Jarrett, who couldn't be awarded the championship. Jarrett demanded that the match be restarted, with Ramon valiantly returning to the ring. Ramon managed to hoist Jarrett in the air for a razor's edge. His knee gave out, allowing Jarrett to roll him up for a small package. Jarrett scored the pinfall victory to become the new Intercontinental Champion. The feud had only just begun, with Ramon receiving a rematch at WrestleMania 11. This time, the 1-2-3 Kid was in Ramon's corner, keeping a close eye on the roadie. With the odds even, the two were finally able to have a fair fight. After a back-and-forth contest, Jarrett found himself up for the razor's edge. The roadie interfered and chop-blocked Ramon's knee, causing a disqualification. The 1-2-3 Kid quickly evened the odds, but Jarrett got the last laugh. Jarrett locked the figure 4 leg lock on the Kid, with Ramon hobbling over for the save. Officials filled the ring, with Jarrett retrieving his championship and making a quick exit. The 1-2-3 Kid was scheduled to team up with Razor Ramon at In Your House to face Jeff Jarrett and the roadie. Unfortunately, the Kid suffered a neck injury and couldn't compete. Ramon agreed to a handicap match, taking on both superstars. The roadie proved to be an accomplished wrestler and antagonized Ramon in the 2-on-1 encounter. Ramon proved his toughness, fighting both off. Jarrett once again fell victim to the Razor's Edge, with Ramon scoring a victory. Post-match, Ramon attempted a Razor's Edge on the roadie, but Jarrett clipped Ramon's leg. The beatdown continued until the Portuguese man-o'-war Aldo Montoya ran in for an attempted save. The roadie made quick work of him until an unnamed superstar ran in to attack Jarrett and the roadie. Backstage, Ramon introduced Todd Pettengill and the entire audience to his friend, Savio Vega. Boasting a temper and proud of his Caribbean heritage, Vega went on to replace an injured Ramon in the King of the Ring. Vega advanced all the way to the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. His luck ran out as Vega fell victim to the massive girth of Mabel, who won the match and the tournament. A coronation followed, with Mo crowning King Mabel. Due to his victory, King Mabel would receive a WWF Championship match at SummerSlam against Diesel. Diesel had a lot on his mind heading into that match. On the August 21st Monday Night Raw, the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith asked Diesel to be his partner in a match against Men on a Mission. During the bout, the Bulldog turned on Diesel and aligned himself with Jim Cornette. King Mabel proceeded to attack a vulnerable Diesel. At SummerSlam, Diesel expected the Bulldog's tag team partner Lex Luger to also be aligned with Cornette. Diesel kept his eyes peeled in his main event bout against King Mabel. Luger made his way to ringside, with Diesel immediately attacking him. As it turned out, Luger hadn't aligned himself with Cornette and was actually there to attack Sir Mo, who'd been interfering in the match. This was the last appearance of Luger in the WWF. Diesel went on to retain his championship, defeating King Mabel after a second rope clothesline. Vignettes began airing in August, hyping the debut of Goldust. Donning gold face paint, a gold suit, and a long blonde wig, the androgynous superstar resembled an Oscar statue. Ironically, Goldust quoted famous films and claimed to be an accomplished actor. Goldust appeared in vignettes from Hollywood and Los Angeles. He made his debut at the October 22nd In Your House, defeating Marty Jannetty. Goldust went on to defeat Bam Bam Bigelow at the Survivor Series. The night after the Royal Rumble, new WWF Tag Team Champions, the 1-2-3 Kid and Sparky Plugg, defended their titles against the Smoking Guns. It was one of the shortest reigns in company history, as the Guns were victorious, wearing the WWF Tag Team Championships once again. Men on a Mission received a WWF Tag Team title shot against the Smoking Guns on the March 12th Action Zone. They were unsuccessful, with the Guns picking up the victory. Oscar, Men on a Mission's manager, encouraged his team to shake the hands of the Guns. Following the handshake, Mabel and Mo attacked the Guns in a shocking turn. On the following week's Action Zone, Men on a Mission called the Guns to the ring to apologize. It was a setup, with Mabel and Mo beating down the Guns. Oscar tried to talk sense into his team, but found himself the recipient of a beatdown. The Smoking Guns went into WrestleMania 11 with a disadvantage. Owen Hart was one of their opponents, with the other remaining a mystery until the night of the show. Owen revealed his partner to be the returning Yokozuna. They dominated the bout, defeating the Guns and becoming the new WWF Tag Team Champions. Managed by Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji, Owen and Yoko would go on to have successful title defenses against the Allied powers, Razor Ramon and Savio Vega, and Men on a Mission. Bret Hitman Hart got his hands on his brother Owen in a no-holds-barred match on the March 27th Monday Night Raw. Bret pulverized Owen, eventually making him submit to the sharpshooter. The bell rang, but Bret refused to break the hold, sending a clear message to his WrestleMania 11 opponent, Mr. Bob Backlund. Officials rushed the ring, physically prying Bret off of Owen. Bret faced Mr. Bob Backlund at WrestleMania 11 in a submission match with Rowdy Roddy Piper as the surprise guest referee. Piper shoved a microphone in each superstar's face for every attempted submission, asking if they'd had enough. Ironically, Hart reversed Backlund's cross-face chicken wing, making him submit to his own finishing move. Piper raised Hart's arm as he celebrated his victory. The White Angel Hakushi made his Monday Night Raw debut on January 9th. He donned white karate pants and was covered with kanji tattoos. His manager was Shinja, who wore a white suit and white face paint. Hakushi made a big impression on the March 25th Superstars. Vince McMahon interviewed Bret Hitman Hart until Hakushi attacked, hitting a moonsault off the interview stage onto Hart on the floor. With the first In Your House taking place on Mother's Day, Bret Hart had something big planned for his mother Helen. Hart agreed to compete in 2 matches, dedicating his performance to Helen, who watched from home. His first opponent was Hakushi, resulting in an excellent match. It was a competitive, hard-hitting classic, full of near falls and breathtaking moments. Shinja repeatedly interfered, with Hart diving onto him and making him a non-issue. The match continued, with Hart picking up a victory via a roll-up. Hart exited the ring, landing hard on his knee. He limped away, with another match still remaining. Jerry the King Lawler was confident he'd defeat Hart, exploiting the knee injury. Lawler introduced us to his supposed mother, a woman obviously half his age. Hart came to the ring hopping on his knee, proving the knee injury was a ruse. A shocked Lawler found himself on the receiving end of a Hart beatdown. Shinja made his way to ringside, distracting the referee and causing him to get caught up in the ropes. Hakushi ran in, hitting a diving headbutt onto Hart. Lawler capitalized on the attack, rolling up Hart for a pinfall victory. Hart fought off Hakushi, Lawler, and Shinja following the bout, leaving Hart angry after an embarrassing defeat. Hart confronted Lawler on the May 22nd Monday Night Raw, demanding a rematch. The two got into a scuffle, with Hart pulling at Lawler's jacket and attempting to intimidate him to accept his challenge. Vince McMahon and a slew of officials restrained Hart in a wild scene. Lawler would go on to propose a Kiss My Foot match for the King of the Ring, with the loser forced to kiss the winner's feet. Lawler appeared in vignettes, walking barefoot in manure and claiming he's not washing his feet until after the King of the Ring. On the June 10th Superstars, Lawler defeated Aldo Montoya and forced him to kiss his disgusting feet. The King of the Ring came, with Hart and Lawler battling in a Kiss My Foot match. Hakushi attempted a run-in attack on Hart, but accidentally punched Lawler. Hart went on to lock Lawler in the sharpshooter, forcing the King to submit. The embarrassment had only just begun, as Hart made Lawler kiss his bare foot. To add insult to injury, Hart forced Lawler to kiss his own disgusting foot. Lawler retreated to the back, vomiting in disgust. Vignettes began airing the following week on Monday Night Raw of Lawler visiting his dentist. Dr. Isaac Yankem, DDS, was a huge man whom Lawler threatened to unleash on Hart. A bout between Hart and Yankem was signed for SummerSlam. Lawler got involved, ultimately causing a disqualification. Yankem and Lawler continued to beat down Hart, tying his head in the ring ropes. Hart and Yankem fought again on the October 16th Monday Night Raw inside of a steel cage. Hanging above the ring in a smaller cage was Lawler, who suffered a nosebleed due to his fear of heights. Without anyone to interfere, Hart laid a pummeling on Yankem, eventually climbing off the top of the cage and to the floor to settle the score. Hakushi continued taunting Bret Hart, pulling off a disturbing stunt on the May 29th Monday Night Raw. Shinja handed Hakushi a large bag. Hakushi reached inside and pulled out a head resembling Hart. Hart and Hakushi squared off on the July 24th Monday Night Raw. It was another epic encounter full of incredible action. Hakushi hit a beautiful springboard moonsault over the top rope and onto Hart on the floor. Hart fought back resiliently, hitting a huge superplex on Hakushi. The modern-day Kamikaze was out, with Hart slapping on a sharpshooter and scoring the victory. WWF Intercontinental Champion Double J Jeff Jarrett finally put his money where his mouth is. He'd hyped his upcoming album, Ain't I Great, for months, but we'd yet to hear a single. On the July 3rd Monday Night Raw, Jarrett debuted his music video, With My Baby Tonight. His performance was excellent, garnering a new respect from the naysayers. Jarrett traveled to Memphis 1 week later, barging into the Buddy Lee Talent Agency and demanding to speak to Lee himself. Jarrett was unsuccessful, but he did run into actor Rip Taylor. The roadie organized a live performance for the July 23rd In Your House, with Jarrett delivering a dazzling performance. Later in the show, he defended his Intercontinental Championship against the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. It was one of the best matches of the year, with both superstars delivering excellent performances in a highly competitive bout. Jarrett backdropped HBK over the ring post and to the floor in a breathtaking spot. In another memorable moment, HBK dove off the top rope and onto Jarrett and the roadie on the floor below. The finish of the bout came when Jarrett attempted to whip HBK against the ropes. HBK reversed it, with the roadie blindly tripping Jarrett. A furious Jarrett rose to his feet and walked right into Sweet Chin Music. HBK covered Jarrett, picking up the win and becoming the new WWF Intercontinental Champion. WWF President Jack Tunney resigned from his position, with Gorilla Monsoon announced as his successor on the August 7th Monday Night Raw. Originally, HBK was scheduled to defend his Intercontinental Championship against Psycho Sid at SummerSlam. Monsoon's first act as WWF President was to change that match and replace it with something even better. Monsoon signed HBK versus Razor Ramon in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. Sid attacked HBK on the August 14th Monday Night Raw. Ramon ran in for the save, which infuriated HBK, who scolded him for getting in his business. The two then had a tug of war over the Intercontinental Championship, with Diesel stepping in to break things up. The latter rematch at SummerSlam delivered. HBK and Ramon put on a completely different bout, finding new ways to pulverize one another. The race to the championship was thrilling, with the addition of a second ladder further intensifying the action. HBK hit Sweet Chin Music off one ladder, knocking Ramon off the other ladder. With the bad guy unconscious, HBK reached for the title, pulling on it with all his weight. The title didn't budge, and HBK crashed to the mat. Ramon began to regain consciousness as HBK climbed the ladder once again and retrieved the Intercontinental Championship. Ramon shook HBK's hand following an excellent bout. Backstage, newcomer Dean Douglas critiqued Ramon's performance in a mock classroom. Ramon wasn't pleased, attacking Douglas, leading to a pull-apart brawl. HBK finally clashed with Sid on the September 11th Monday Night Raw. Sid used his weight advantage to dominate HBK and nearly hit a powerbomb. HBK's signature resiliency shined, reversing the powerbomb and hitting Sid twice with Sweet Chin Music to win the match. HBK suffered a concussion outside of the ring, falling victim to an assault outside of a nightclub. As a result, he was unable to defend his Intercontinental Championship in his scheduled bout at the October 22nd In Your House. This meant that he'd have to forfeit his title to his scheduled opponent, Dean Douglas. HBK reluctantly surrendered the championship, with Douglas snatching it away from him. Douglas went on to defend his newly acquired title against Razor Ramon. The bad guy made quick work of Douglas, defeating him with a Razor's Edge to become a four-time WWF Intercontinental Champion. WWF President Gorilla Monsoon announced a unique match for the Survivor Series. Known as a wild card match, Monsoon paired unique teams, forcing them to work together to emerge victorious. The match consisted of WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon, Yokozuna, Owen Hart, and Dean Douglas facing Psycho Sid, the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, newcomer Ahmed Johnson, and the returning Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. Johnson debuted on the October 30th Monday Night Raw, body slamming Yokozuna while saving Ramon from an attack. The action in the wild card match wound down to HBK, the Bulldog, and Ahmed Johnson against Yokozuna. Johnson once again body slammed Yokozuna and attempted a pinfall. Bulldog turned on his team, breaking up the pinfall to save his fellow Camp Cornette ally, Yokozuna. HBK and Johnson delivered 2 fists to the face of the Bulldog, sending him to the floor. HBK went on to hit Yokozuna with Sweet Chin Music, with Johnson covering the behemoth to score the pinfall. HBK, Ahmed Johnson, and the British Bulldog were the survivors. The following night on Monday Night Raw, HBK faced Owen Hart in the main event. During the bout, Hart connected with a stiff enziguri, kicking HBK in the back of the head. HBK continued, but eventually collapsed. Paramedics rushed to the ring and hooked HBK up to oxygen before stretchering him out of the arena. This left HBK's future in question as he'd missed competition for the remainder of the year. The Supreme Fighting Machine, Kama, made his Monday Night Raw debut on January 30th. He'd quickly align himself with the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and the $1 Million Corporation. The Undertaker defeated IRS at the Royal Rumble, with King Kong Bundy standing toe-to-toe with the Dead Man post-match. While the two monsters stared at one another, IRS attacked Paul Bearer and repossessed the urn. The urn was then handed off to $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. The Undertaker was on a mission to reclaim the urn, facing King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 11. During the bout, The Undertaker reclaimed the urn from DiBiase and returned it to Paul Bearer. Soon after, Kama ran to the ring, attacked Bearer, and ran off with the urn. The Undertaker would go on to defeat Bundy, but his war with the $1 Million Corporation continued. Despite the loss of his urn, The Undertaker qualified for the King of the Ring. His opponent in the first round was Mabel. Kama interfered, attacking The Undertaker. This allowed Mabel to hit a big leg drop and score a pinfall victory over the Deadman. From this point forward, a couple dressed in black appeared at all of Kama's matches, leaving him a black wreath at the end of every bout. Kama snapped on the August 19th Superstars, attacking the male of the couple and rubbing the black wreath in his face. The Undertaker and Kama faced off at SummerSlam in a casket match. By this point, the urn had been melted down into a gold chain, which Kama wore around his neck. The two pulverized one another, even performing moves on top of the casket. At one point, both brawled into the casket, with the referees closing the lid. The match continued, with Undertaker choke-slamming Kama and then hitting a tombstone. Taker rolled Kama into the casket and shut the lid, securing the victory. The October 9th Monday Night Raw featured a star-studded six-man tag. WWF Champion Diesel, WWF Intercontinental Champion The Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker faced the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, Owen Hart, and Yokozuna. The Bulldog scored a huge victory, pinning Diesel after a running power slam. King Mabel interfered, attacking The Undertaker and legitimately crushing his face with a giant leg drop. Meanwhile, Dean Douglas attacked HBK and suplexed him chest first onto the ring steps. The Undertaker wouldn't return until the November 19th Survivor Series. He wore a ghoulish mask to protect his face and single-handedly defeated King Mabel's entire team. The feud came to a head at the December 17th In Your House in a casket match. King Mabel and Sir Mo had gained possession of the gold chain that used to be the urn. Taker made quick work of Mabel, tossing him and Mo into the casket, and closed the lid on their feud. In the process, Taker retrieved the remnants of the urn and presented them to Paul Bearer. Vignettes began airing in May, hyping the debut of Sonny and Skip, the Body Donnas. The pair were fitness gurus, poking fun at the weight and health of both superstars and fans alike. Skip's first major problem came from an unlikely competitor. Taking his opponent lightly, Skip suffered a defeat at the hands of longtime enhancement talent Barry Horowitz on the July 9th Action Zone. The two had a rematch at SummerSlam, with Horowitz once again scoring the upset victory. Following his WrestleMania 11 defeat, Mr. Bob Backlund went on a tirade, preaching morality and the importance of knowledge. Backlund made a monumental announcement on the May 15th Monday Night Raw, proclaiming his intentions to run for President of the United States. He began his campaign for a presidential run that has still yet to happen. Newcomer Man Mountain Rock made his debut in the spring, showcasing his shredding skills on his custom WWF guitar. Bob Backlund felt that rock and roll represented immorality. While roaming around backstage, Backlund pushed the guitar on the ground and took out his anger on Man Mountain Rock. The night after WrestleMania 11, WWF Women's Champion Bull Nakano defended her title against Alundra Blaze on Monday Night Raw. After a grueling contest, Blaze defeated Nakano with a German suplex to once again become WWF Women's Champion. Following the bout, an unknown woman wearing a black outfit and black face paint attacked Blaze from behind. The champion's celebration was ruined, and she was left writhing in pain. 3 weeks later, Harvey Whippleman introduced the mystery woman as his new girlfriend, Bertha Faye. Faye underwent a complete character change, sporting pigtails and wearing a colorful onesie. Blaze returned at SummerSlam, but proved to be no match for Faye. Whippleman was elated as Faye pinned Blaze to become the new WWF Women's Champion. Blaze received a rematch on the October 23rd Monday Night Raw. Whippleman attempted to aid Faye, restraining Blaze from the apron. Faye charged at Blaze, who dodged the collision. Whippleman fell to the floor, and Blaze hit a German suplex on Faye for the pinfall victory. Alundra Blaze was once again the WWF Women's Champion. A feud between Blaze and Aja Kong was teased at Survivor Series. Kong defeated Blaze to win the 8-woman Survivor Series elimination tag match. Unfortunately, Blaze left the promotion before we got to see a bout with Aja Kong. Razor Ramon faced the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith on the September 11th Monday Night Raw. Dean Douglas interfered, breaking up Ramon's pinfall attempt on the Bulldog. The 1-2-3 Kid attempted to even the odds by hitting a splash off the top rope when Bulldog attempted a pinfall. Unfortunately, Bulldog moved, and the Kid landed on top of Ramon to cause a disqualification. After the match, the Kid snapped, saying he wants to be taken seriously. He went on to challenge Ramon to a bout on the following week's Monday Night Raw. During that match, Dean Douglas interfered behind the referee's back, hitting a top rope splash onto Ramon. The Kid rolled on top of Ramon, scoring the pinfall victory. Razor Ramon fought Dean Douglas at the September 24th In Your House. Mr. Bob Backlund accompanied Douglas to the ring, proving to be a difference maker, distracting the referee as Ramon covered Douglas after a Razor's Edge. The 1-2-3 Kid ran into the ring, counting an unofficial 3. Fooled, Ramon shoved the Kid out of the ring. This allowed Douglas to roll up Ramon and score a pinfall victory. Ramon threw the Kid back into the ring, leading to a pull-apart brawl. Razor and the Kid went on to compete on the October 2nd Monday Night Raw. Ramon made quick work of the Kid, defeating him with a lariat. The Kid refused to accept defeat, and the match was restarted. Ramon defeated the Kid again, this time defeating him via small package. After some slight tension, the two shook hands and seemingly patched up their differences. Ramon and the Kid challenged WWF Tag Team Champions the Smoking Guns at the October 22nd In Your House. Both teams put up a great fight until Ramon hoisted Billy Gunn up for the Razor's Edge. Upon hitting the move, the Kid demanded that Ramon tag him in. Conforming, Ramon tagged the Kid in, who immediately got rolled up for the pinfall. The Smoking Guns retained their tag team titles. The Kid attacked the Guns after the bell, with Ramon interjecting to calm everyone down. Cooler heads prevailed, but Ramon kept a close eye on the Kid. Ramon faced Psycho Sid on the November 13th Monday Night Raw. The 1-2-3 Kid served as the special guest referee, with the match ending in controversy. Ramon hoisted Sid up for the Razor's Edge, but the Kid pulled Sid's leg down for safety. This allowed Sid to hit Ramon with a powerbomb. The Kid counted to 3 with lightning speed, giving Sid the victory. With Ramon heartbroken, the Kid aligned himself with the $1 Million Corporation. Ramon had an opportunity to get his hands on the Kid on the December 17th In Your House. The Kid and Sid faced Ramon and Marty Jannetty, with Ramon scoring the pinfall on Sid. During the bout, Goldust was spotted in the crowd. When asked for a comment, Goldust confessed his infatuation with Ramon. A vignette aired on the April 10th Monday Night Raw, hyping the debut of the Pirate, Jean-Pierre Lafitte. Lafitte made his presence felt on the August 26th Superstars. Bret Hitman Hart competed in a match with newcomer Rad Radford. Lafitte made his way to the ring during the bout, stealing Hart's jacket. The two fought on the September 24th In Your House in a great match. In the end, Hart emerged victorious, reclaiming his jacket in the process. The year featured numerous notable debuts, returns, and matches. Mantaur debuted on the January 7th Superstars. He was one of the most bizarre characters in company history, wearing the head of a buffalo to the ring. Weighing over 400 pounds, Mantaur tossed his opponents around with ease and usually squashed them to secure victories. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith fought on the June 5th Monday Night Raw in a King of the Ring qualifying match. The bout was great, ending in a time limit draw. The WWF Hall of Fame took place on June 24th. This year's class included Antonino Rocca, the Big Cat Ernie Ladd, George the Animal Steele, Polish Power Ivan Putski, the Fabulous Moolah, the Grand Wizard of Wrestling, and Pedro Morales. The July 3rd Monday Night Raw featured the debut of the maniacal Waylon Mercy. Wearing a white tank top, a Hawaiian shirt, and sporting a tattoo of a dagger on his forehead, Mercy used the slogan, "Lives are gonna be in Waylon Mercy's hands." Fatu underwent a gimmick change, debuting a new character on the July 24th Monday Night Raw. He now promoted making a difference in your community and treating others with respect. Henry Godwinn turned on the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase on the August 14th Monday Night Raw, slopping him and disowning the $1 Million Corporation. Mr. Perfect returned at the Survivor Series, becoming a regular in the broadcast booth. The 1-2-3 Kid and Hakushi had an excellent bout at SummerSlam. A rematch took place on the November 20th Monday Night Raw, also worth seeing. Owen Hart defeated a young Jeff Hardy on the December 11th Monday Night Raw. Following the match, Yokozuna hit a bonsai drop on Hardy, with Diesel running in to make the save. A vignette aired on the April 10th Monday Night Raw, hyping the debut of Jean-Paul Levesque. This character made its debut on the April 30th Wrestling Challenge under a new name, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Helmsley was a rich snob from Greenwich, Connecticut that walked around with his nose in the air. His most notable feud of the year was against Henry O. Godwinn, whom Helmsley found to be repulsive. Helmsley attacked Godwinn on the November 6th Monday Night Raw, pouring the bucket of slop on him to add insult to injury. Helmsley and Godwinn squared off on December 17th's In Your House in the infamous hog pen match. A hog pen was constructed next to the entrance, filled with hogs, mud, and anything else the animals left behind. The loser was the one to be tossed into the hog pen. Hillbilly Jim served as the special guest referee for the bout. Helmsley won by backdropping Godwin into the hog pen. Post-match, Godwin dragged Helmsley into the hog pen and Gorilla Press slammed him face first into the mud. A special main event was signed for the September 24th In Your House. WWF Champion Big Daddy Cool Diesel and WWF Intercontinental Champion the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels would face WWF Tag Team Champions Yokozuna and Owen Hart. Every title was on the line, meaning whoever was pinned would lose their championship. The show went on the air with Owen Hart nowhere to be found. WWF President Gorilla Monsoon informed Jim Cornette that he'd have to find a replacement partner come bell time. The British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith joined Yokozuna in the match against the team known as Two Dudes with Attitudes. Things got out of hand during the bout, with Owen Hart running to the ring. Hart leapt off the top rope, but was met by a waiting Diesel. One jackknife powerbomb later, and Diesel pinned Hart to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. The following night on Monday Night Raw, Jim Cornette introduced his attorney, Clarence Mason. Mason informed Monsoon that since Hart hadn't started the match, Diesel's pinfall on him wasn't legal. Diesel and HBK were forced to forfeit their titles back to Yokozuna and Owen Hart. Later that broadcast, the Smoking Guns defeated Yokozuna and Owen Hart to become the new WWF Tag Team Champions. WWF Champion Diesel defended his title against the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith on the October 22nd In Your House. Joining in on commentary was Bret the Hitman Hart. During the bout, both Diesel and the Bulldog got into confrontations with Hart at ringside. Hart eventually attacked the Bulldog, causing a disqualification. Diesel and Hart began brawling, leading to a pull-apart brawl. Hart was named the #1 contender and would receive his match at the Survivor Series. Both champion Diesel and challenger Hart sat down for a face-to-face interview via satellite on the November 13th Monday Night Raw. The two were aggressive towards one another, foreshadowing the match the two would have in 6 days. The Survivor Series occurred on November 19th and featured Diesel defending the WWF Championship against Bret the Hitman Hart in a no-holds-barred match in the main event. The match was a knockdown, drag-out affair, with both superstars beating the tar out of each other. Diesel knocked Hart off the apron, sending him crashing through the broadcast table. Amazingly, the match continued, with Diesel signaling for a jackknife. It was a slight hesitation that threw Diesel off, showing a moment of compassion for a hurt Hart. Hart capitalized, rolling up Diesel and scoring the pinfall to once again become WWF Champion. Diesel was furious, attacking Hart and hitting 2 jackknife powerbombs before attacking a handful of officials. The following night on Monday Night Raw, Diesel interrupted a bout between Savio Vega and Skip. Diesel grabbed the microphone and said he's not going to be Vince McMahon's corporate puppet any longer. He went on to say that the old Big Daddy Cool was back. Brother Love made his return on the November 27th Monday Night Raw. He interviewed WWF Champion Bret Hitman Hart. As Hart hyped his upcoming bout with the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, Mr. Bob Backlund snuck in for a surprise attack. Hart defended his WWF Championship against Backlund on the December 11th Monday Night Raw. The match ended in a disqualification after Bulldog attacked Hart, stomping on him while he was in Backlund's cross-face chicken wing. Hart defended the WWF Championship against the Bulldog in the main event of the December 17th In Your House. Bulldog's wife Diana accompanied him to ringside, rooting against her brother Bret. The bout was intense, mixing technical wrestling with hard-hitting moves. Hart cut his head on a piece of glass on the floor, bleeding all over the canvas. Bulldog took advantage of the injury, slamming Hart around without compassion. The battle continued, with Bulldog hitting a running power slam on Hart on the floor. Despite the blood loss, Hart persevered, nearly scoring a pinfall after a picture-perfect superplex. Shortly after, Hart rolled up Bulldog to score a pinfall victory out of nowhere, wrapping up an instant classic. Following the bout, it was announced that The Undertaker would receive a shot at Bret Hart's WWF Championship at the Royal Rumble. Diesel barged into the room, claiming that he should be the one getting the title shot. The Undertaker stood up to Diesel, with the two staring at one another in a tense scene. How long would Bret Hart be able to hang on to his title in the new year? Find out next time on Squared Circle History.